What's up, everyone? Champion's back again for another UFC predictions video. This time for Machado Garry versus Carlos Prates, Kansas City. UFC Fight Night, Kansas City. Super excited for this card. This is a banger fight night. We got a few bangers in a row, in my opinion, for the UFC. And yeah, let's get into it. But first, as always, go over what happened last time, how we did last time, and pretty good. Pretty good. I outright said for UFC 314 that I was only betting one person. That was Alexander Volkanovski, because it's like I'm going to the card in person, and it's like that I just want to enjoy the card for the most part, not be thinking about many bets. But I was heavily invested in the main event anyways, and I was very confident going into the main event about Alexander Volkanovski. I had a lot of belief in him, and he pulled through. He pulled through. That's my goal. That's my goal. So we can just talk about that fight as well as the other fights on that card. So why was I confident in Volk? I like I mentioned in the video. I thought my last video. I believed a lot of the fight had to come down with footwork as well as leg kicks. Maybe my leg kicks claim wasn't as much of a, how do you say this, like, as much of a factor as I originally thought. But I mean, it helps, and I made it point for either side, like Lopez with leg kicks as well as Volkanovski with leg kicks, and how each would have to defend them. Like Volkanovski be able to leg kick Lopez, so Lopez wouldn't be able to come at him or anything like that. Not necessarily what happened. But I was worried more so about like Lopez leg kicking Volk and Volk not being able to move around so much. That didn't really happen so much. He's more so boxing heavy, Diego Lopez. But I do think the footwork's everything. Was everything in this fight, where Volkanovski was just perfect way to go out and get out of the danger zone with Lopez. And he did such a great job with that. Volkanovski wanted to go in the pocket. He still has a chin. As I mentioned in my video as well, I was like, okay, I know he got finished by Islam and Ilya, but those things that finish him finish a lot of people. So I'm not necessarily like writing off his chin necessarily. I know he got dropped by Lopez in round 2, and that was scary. That was very, very scary. Although Volkanovski's maybe was a little more off balance or whatever, he's able to get up and be pretty fine after that. It's a good thing that it was towards the end of the round, but yeah, that was a scary moment. But he's able to recover, do well. In round 4, he got hit by a nasty uppercut, but took it well and had his eye messed up, but was able to move around, like recompose himself. Man, yeah. I felt like a vintage Volkanovski performance. I think Volkanovski's still the best. He's still the best at 145, especially with Ilya gone. He's not the same guy he was. I think if he was the same guy he was in his younger years, he'd honestly run through everyone in this division easily. But since he isn't, it's a lot more interesting. And I still think he could beat literally everyone there. So, yeah, Alexander Volkanovski, he's legitimately put up his claim to be like the GOAT or whatever, like any sort of thing, featherweight GOAT, just GOAT of the sport kind of thing. Like I think he has a legitimate case, and like what he did on that past Saturday, impossible. The 35-year-old curse, the getting KO'd twice in a row and then fighting for a belt, that doesn't go well for people usually. Volkanovski's different. This guy's different, and to be able to do that at at a weight class where you have to be younger to really do well. I mean, it's so impressive. And to be the best of the best in that weight class, I think says a lot about Volkanovski. I personally think he's the greatest of all time, and I know that's like a crazy claim. I know John Jones, GSP. DJ, obviously all of them deserve mentions, but I just think Volkanovski in any era, he'd be so good, and that mentality he has is different. And some of the feats he's done, how he does it, where he is willing to go into the pocket with Lopez. It's ridiculous. I can't believe the guy was willing to do that. He's willing to, okay, let's go. Unbelievable. And I mean, Lopez didn't even want to be on the ground with him. And that's one of Lopez's best parts of his game is his jiu-jitsu. I mean, it says a lot about Volkanovski, I think. And like, again, I'm glazing Volkanovski here, and I think he deserves it. He deserves all of it. Like, praise him while he's here now, and he just did one of the most remarkable things as possible in combat sports. Good stories like this don't happen very often, so it's worth admiring when they do. But Volkanovski does this thing where he beats you at where you're best for like the most part. Maybe not necessarily like Yair Rodriguez. I wouldn't necessarily say that happened too much, although I guess he hurt him on the feet. But like Brian Ortega, I'm willing to go down in the ground with you and not be afraid with your submissions. You can put in the deepest attempts possible. Don't matter. Max Holloway, I can box with you all you want in the third fight. I can mix it up in the second fight where I'm down 2 rounds. I can come back. Fight 1, he was able to pretty much out game plan Max Holloway and outdo him on the feet again. There's more. Islam Makhachev at 155. Arguable he won that first fight. I mean, I personally thought he won that first fight. I know it was close. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's like crazy to say he won that first fight though. And to do that against a guy as good as Makhachev is, impressive as hell. And to be willing to go in on short notice with how bad of circumstances that was. I mean, it says a lot about the guy as a fighter. Like, he's willing to do things. He's like, he is that guy. Obviously didn't go his way, but man, it's just dudes are not willing to do that. And then make a quick turnaround against Ilya where he won round 1. That's impressive against a guy like Ilya who was like murking dudes. Of course, he murked Volk too. Volk did a really dumb thing in that fight and ended up really getting himself caught. Well, I shouldn't even say that. Ilya made him get caught because Ilya was the one who made that happen. I should say. I'm not trying to disrespect Ilya. But I mean, I'm forgetting the Korean Zombie, the absolute masterclass he put on. I just want to praise Volkanovski for the absolute great he is. He has that nickname for a reason, Alexander the Great Volkanovski. He deserves all the praise in the world. I love this man to death. My favorite fighter. And I had a lot of belief in him. If there's a guy who I'm willing to bet I'm willing to trust in any sort of circumstance, is Volkanovski. And yeah, it was no different here. So yeah. Enough of me talking about Volkanovski and how much I adore the man. I think the man's amazing, is great. Let's get into the rest of my predictions. 7-13. I didn't think I did that great, especially in the main card. Oh my god. But we'll get into that. Nora Canole to beat Haley Cowan. I made a great point with this fight betting wise, where I was like, Nora Canole finish only. It makes no sense. The odds is like -200 at the time or something like that. She either finishes or maybe she loses the decision. I met her after the fight. She's a very, very nice lady, Nora Canole. Not after the fight, the day after, the Fighter Hotel. But anyways, didn't go so great round 1. Haley Cowan is like, okay, improvements at Team Elevation or whatever the team is that the girls of Colorado. I was actually really impressed by Haley Cowan, but Nora Canole able to, how do you say this, like, shake off the cobwebs, I guess. Round 1 didn't go so much her way. Able to be more physical in round 2. Like, in round 1, she was trying to be more physical, but Haley Cowan was doing a really good job. By the way, Haley Cowan was in some insane shape for this fight. I have to say that. That was ridiculous. Like, props. And I like the improvements she made, to be honest with you. She is getting better. Even, like, I mean, how old is she now? Like, I'm actually curious now. I wanted to look. 33. Like, she no spring chicken. She's young for MMA though, in terms of like not much wear and tear. But But yeah, I love that win from Nora Konole. She's a finisher. She's so much fun at bantamweight. I love this girl. Shout out to her. I got round 2. I didn't fit a submission though. Treson Gore, Marco Tulio. What a fight! What a fight! And again, I was at these fights. This was an insane fight. This is a great card to go to. I was very happy I was in Miami for this card. Treson Gore able to catch Tulio early. Tulio hurt bad, but Tulio's willing to gets right back up, goes in, hits Treson Gore bad a few times, and Treson Gore has no quit in him. Man, he was willing to die in there, and he didn't even want the fight to be stopped when he did, when Tulio knocked him down in round 2. Like, what a fight. What a fight. I think great showing by both guys. Not necessarily Gore as much, because Gore had one moment and not so much like the rest. But I do think Tulio's pretty good. So to have that moment on him, pretty good. But Tulio put all that volume to keep that pace for even though like it wasn't like the longest fight. I mean, it was pretty impressive. I have to say it's pretty impressive, especially after getting knocked down. So shout out to Tulio. What a win. Sumo Darji, Mitch Raposo. I said if there's anyone on this card that was a lock, it's Sumo Darji. Maybe a little closer to my liking, but even then, I thought he clearly won. Sumo Darji. I do not know what Mitch Raposo was doing in there in terms of, like, you're not doing damage. It was so frustrating to watch, because when I was watching it live, I was like, bro, you can elbow off the break. You might even, he could have stolen the fight with that kind of stuff, to be honest with you. But every time he would just separate, nothing. You're in the clinch, you can choose to separate and do damage. That doesn't make any sense to me. Sumo Darji clearly won. I like Sumo Darji. I think he's pretty good, and I like the improvements he's made. He's gotten a lot better in his defensive grappling, so you gotta give so much praise to him there. So yeah, shout out to Sue. Cedric Dumas loses to Mikhail Oleksiejczuk, the new fighting nerd. This was one of the most dumb fight IQ fights I've ever watched. Why the hell are you trying to strike with Mikhail Oleksiejczuk on the back foot, Dumas, and not even shoot a single takedown? What are you doing? Your path to victory is takedowns, bro. What are you? I guys couldn't believe what I was watching, and he ended up getting finished by Mikhail in the boxing. I purely picked Dumas because I thought he was going to wrestle, and I think it's going to be his path to victory. Like, maybe have some success on the feet, but wrestle this guy Mikhail, who has had trouble in the past wrestling. Just it boggled my mind watching that live, what the guy was doing. I mean, it's like, I think he had an attempt where it looked like he was going for a takedown, but it was a back fist. I've never seen anything like that before, to be honest, and it worked well. And yeah, yeah, that was not good. Cedric Dumas, what the hell was that? And I think, funnily enough, I've been to every Cedric Dumas fight that he's lost in the UFC, and every time I've not been to his fights, he's won, which is pretty fun. No, that's not true. Not true. Ruzaboyev, I completely lied there. I totally forgot about Ruzaboyev fight, even though I throw that fight out when I think of Dumas fights. Besides that one, though, yeah, very disappointing, Dumas. Very disappointing. Julian Erosa, Darren Elkins. I thought this fight would go to decision. I was wrong about that. Yeah, Erosa, Elkins is done. And I mean, I've been saying that. I said that in my breakdown as well. I was like, I don't think this guy's good, really good anymore. And I didn't think a guy like Erosa would have any sort of problems with that, especially since he doesn't gas. Didn't even necessarily need that. Yeah, it was pretty easy. Erosa win. First round KO. What more to say? Chase Hooper over Jim Miller. Yeah, I broke this fight down pretty well as well. I thought, where it's like Jim Miller, first round KO or bust. Chase Hooper, anytime Jim Miller's getting grappled, which Chase Hooper is going to do, he's gonna gas, and that's exactly what happened. So, not much more to say there. Interesting fight Ending comments by Chase Hooper calling too much gooning this camp. Hilarious. But go on by Hooper. Gonna need to step up now. Virgin Chidoba beats Chan Nun. Yeah, I went John Nun because I thought she'd be able to keep it on the feet, keep separation, sort of similar to the Ricci fight. Except I thought she had improved takedown defense, and I do think she has improved takedown defense. So I think it's an impressive win by Verna Chidoba to be able to get her down multiple times, put her into very bad positions, and control well. So, I mean, props to Verna. Good win. I didn't think she would win that one. Props her. She's undeniable. She's undeniable. She needs to fight Zhang Weili. Zhang Weili needs to fight Verna Chidoba. She deserves it. Give it to her. Zhang would mess her up, but she deserves it. Danny Ige, Sean Woodson. Seeing the scorecards on this fight, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, I thought Sean Woodson, I mean, at the very least, I thought it was 1-1. Like, I thought round 2 was debatable, but like, when I was watching, it was like, I thought it didn't feel like, especially round 1, Ige was doing that much. Sure, he was landing more impactful shots, but volume of Woodson was a lot more. Sure, he was throwing up a lot of air, but still, he was landing more. I thought he won round 1 pretty clearly. He got hurt in round 3 though. Pretty bad. So I mean, I guess I can understand judges giving round 2 the Ige. So like, Woodson would have been on his way to losing because Ige's not getting hurt. But I mean, also horrible stoppage. I will say that, very horrible stoppage on round 3. Woodson was fine. He was recovering well, but I mean, yeah, props to Ige to be able to get Woodson out of there. Good win. Oh, my beloved Nikita Krylov. I love Nikita, and this hurts my soul. No hate on Dominic Reyes though. Dominic Reyes is sick. What was Krylov doing? When watching this, I was like, yeah, Krylov's gonna drop him and then get a sub or whatever. But I didn't think he'd be running, doing a Dricus Duplessis kind of thing, and like against someone like Dominic Reyes who is ready to counter at all times. Oh my god, I couldn't believe what I was watching. But yeah, Nikita did that to himself. I think time off that doesn't help him. Didn't help him with that one. Yeah, poor Nikita. I love him. I think he'll be back, but yeah, it's not a good loss. Gene Silva beats Bryce Mitchell. I have to say, damn, what a win by Gene Silva. I thought Bryce Mitchell would be able to have more success with takedown stuff like that. I was surprisingly surprised by how well Bryce was doing on the feet, to be honest, especially early on, because I didn't think he really have that much success on the feet. But yeah, Gene Silva's an animal. Put on Bryce Mitchell, got him out of there. I mean, what else do I say? That was a great win by Gene Silva. I thought this would be a boring fight, and that Bryce would find ways to get takedowns and hold Gene down. But props to Gene Silva, takedown defense was there, and able to get submission on Bryce Mitchell, which is super impressive. So yeah, and I think the hype train on Gene Silva is out of control. I'm probably gonna keep picking against this guy because the hype train's out of control, and I don't think he's that good. He's very good. Don't get me wrong. He's very good. He deserves to be ranked where he is. Hold your horses. Hold your horses with this guy. I don't think he's that crazy good. Yair Rodriguez beats Pitbull. Fun fight, to be honest, but not the craziest thing ever. But yeah, Yair won a decision. Dropped Pitbull at one point. Pitbull didn't really have too much. Maybe cracked the Yair a little bit, but just didn't have too much. I did think age would play like a factor going in. And yeah, like Yair didn't really have too much to worry about. Maybe getting taken down a little bit, but Pitbull just didn't really have much to offer. I think I did like offer like a bet, like saying like Pitbull decision only is not a bad bet. It was a bad bet. It was kind of a bad bet, not gonna lie. Chandler Patty. I went with Chandler, but I said outright I had zero confidence in this fight, and all I was hoping for was that they would recreate Guida versus Diego Sanchez were just throwing hooks nonstop over and over. That's not what happened. Patty fought a smart fight. Patty looked incredible. Had to give it to the guy. Met him at the Fighter Hotel, and at the Fighter Hotel, I felt so bad. He said he was on crutches, so maybe if you bet on Michael Chandler, you could feel better about yourself. Man, he put him on crutches, I guess. But that's not what I'm talking about. Patty, I went up to him and said, hey, "Can I take a picture?" or something like that, and he said, "What's the magic word, lad?" What's the magic word, lad? And I was like, "Oh my god!" I didn't say please. I feel so bad. I felt so bad when doing it. And yeah, he was very kind about it. And yeah, I mean, I have to say, great win for Patty. He's in contention for the title soon. Crazy. One more win and he's there. Unbelievable. So shout out Patty Pimblett. And we're talking about the main event. So let's get into the card. We got this week. I'll try to run through it pretty quickly. Chelsea Chandler versus Jocelyn Edwards. You know what? I want to go Chelsea Chandler. I'm going to go crazy with this one. I don't think Edwards is that good. I really don't. I think she's overrated. I know she looked great against Vidal, but Vidal is Derek Lewis at women's bantamweight without as much power and without the get up ability. Like it's bad. I didn't like how she looked against Eileen Perez. Nora Canoli, she did arguably win. I get it. That's a good look. She went life and death with Pasquale. She did not win this Pudilova fight. She did not win that fight. I know she's training with Shevchenko. I know she's training with Ivana Petrovic, which I don't think is anything special. I don't think it's anything good. But I just can't unsee this thing where I just see Jocelyn Edwards throwing a kick and then just falling from it, from Chelsea Chandler randomly catching it, and then Chandler getting on top of her and winning rounds like that. I feel like that can happen, and I can't get out of my head. I know I'm probably dumb with going Chandler to win this fight, but I will say this: Chandler's have a body transformation. She looks the best she's ever looked in her career. She knows her back's against the wall. I'm go with that. Am I gonna bet on it? If I am, it's gonna be like a 0.1, like a 0.1 unit. If I am. But no, I'm not going crazy with this. But I don't think Chandler's as out of this fight as so many people believe it is. She is. So give me Chelsea Chandler. Timmy Kawamba, Roberto Romero. This is a tough one for me. I just can't unsee maybe Timmy Kawamba getting his wrestling going. But I can't overlook how good Roberto Romero looked on short notice against David Onama. I think that was a very, very impressive thing to do. But and again, like Kawamba's competition, I'm not been super impressed with how he's looked. I'm low. I'm so low on Kawamba. I know he's young. I'm not looking at betting this one. I think the line is kind of fair, to be honest with you. Whereas like it's pretty much like pick'em. It's not one I'm really too crazy about, too keen about. I'll go Roberto Romero. I think, and with a full camp, he's got this. Jacqueline Emerim versus Polyana Viana. What do you want me to say? I bet on this fight. I got Emerim. Yeah, she's gonna win this fight. Like, the line is disgusting now. Yeah, I understand why it's disgusting. She's gonna win. Polyana Viana, if she gets taken down, I mean that's gonna be the fight. Like, not even like, I mean, she gets a submission round one. I mean, Viana in her last fight against Jillian Robertson got TKO'd, and she was defending the submissions very well. So I wouldn't be surprised if Emery tries to go for a TKO here. Perhaps. I know she's not like the same size as like Jillian Robertson, doesn't have the same impact, so maybe not so much. But I will say that she did defend submissions well against Jillian. So I'm wary about like unders and stuff like that. I think if you want to play Emery at this point, minus 3.5 is the way to go. I don't know what the odds on that are. They're probably not nice, but they're going to be a little better than the odds that she has right now. I'm very curious actually if they have odds on that. Let us find out. I did not click on this fight. Come on, fight outside IO. Work with me. Bless me. Sorry about that. Minus 3.5. They don't have odds on it. Whatever. But Amarim should do whatever she wants. It's gonna be her all day. Cameron Simon versus Malcolm Wellmaker. Both of these guys are really good. But you know what? I'm still super high on my guy, Cameron Simon. And you know what? I think he wins this fight. I'm gonna go decision. I think both guys can be super durable. I know Wellmaker hits like a truck, and like people making comparisons to the Peyton Talbot fight. But I think Wellmaker's a little more green, even more green than like Talbot was even going into that fight. I believe that Simon taking the time off, making improvements. His back is against the wall. Two fight losing streak. He needs a win here. I like Cameron Simon. I think he can. He's super durable too. Even with taking some of the beat. A lot of the shots he took from Payne Talbot put out so many other dudes a lot faster than he did. Super young still. I love the volume Simon has. Yeah, I like Simon here. Am I looking to bet it? I'm not crazy about it, to be honest with you. If he becomes a dog, I might put like a little bet on it. I might put a little bet on it, but I need to think about it more if I'm gonna bet it. But it's not something I'm super keen about. More 6 strikes though with Cameron Simon. I'm in. He's gonna land more 6 strikes on Malcolm Wellmaker. I have full belief in that. Damon Blackshear, Alatong Ali. Blackshear, I'm gonna go decision. I think Alatong Ali's pretty good at like staying in fights and not getting finished. And I'm not interested in getting involved with the Damon Blackshear experience like I did like last time with Cody Gibson. That guy almost gave me a heart attack. Alatong Ali's pretty alright, to be honest. But I do think he's kind of overmatched here against Blackshear. I think Blackshear has got the edge pretty much everywhere. So yeah. But I thought that last time against Gibson, so and the boxing was scaring the living crap out of me. But still, I think Blackshear should win this. Chris Gutierrez, John Castaneda, broken down this fight. It feels like a few times now. Not changed. Gutierrez, I think he's just gonna be able to keep range, distance, outstrike Castaneda. It'd be a typical Chris Gutierrez fight. Maybe Castaneda can have success with the wrestling and stuff like that. So that is a bit of a worrisome thing for me. But I do think Gutierrez keeping distance. Yeah, he's done this for like a lot of guys. I think he'll be able to do this to Castaneda too. So yeah, give me Chris Gutierrez. Evan Elder, Gage Young. I wish I'd been able to have more tape on Young, like being able to look back more of his fights. But this fight was made recently. I am going Evan Elder. I'm a big Evan Elder guy. I do think Young's tough. I have seen Young's fight on the Contender Series against Salkild. He did look really good in that fight. Went to war with Salkild. And I think they're pretty similar in style, to be honest. But I think I'm going to go with the more grizzled veteran and Evan Elder with the higher level competition. Going in with a close fight against Sadikov, going to war with him, I think says a lot. I like his wins as of recent, not necessarily against the best names, but you can see how he performs in them. The guy's got it, man. This guy is really good. Not necessarily the best analysis. I had a lot of money on Evan Elder going into his this fight against Hamza or something like that, who did some disgusting things apparently, allegedly. Maybe I shouldn't be going that far, but if those are true, disgusting. But Evan Elder, I think he's that dude, and I like him here. I like the dudes he trains with at Killcliff, training with Sadikov and that folk. Yeah, I like Evan Elder. Matt Schnell, Jimmy Flick. This is a meme fight, and I'm so here for it. Honestly, I have to go Schnell. I'll go finish round 2. But it's hard to trust Schnell with, especially with him like doing double taps and stuff like that. But honestly, I don't really think Jimmy Flick's gonna be able to get in a position to even get that. But even then, I know Matt Schnell's the type of guy to shoot on Jimmy Flick. So, who knows? But I do think Schnell is the overall better fighter. I mean, I'll be rooting for Flick because I'm a Jimmy Flick kind of guy. I like Jimmy Flick a lot. He follows me on Twitter. I'm like, I think is pretty cool. Um, yeah, I love Jimmy Flick, and I kind of hope he wins. But I honestly I do think Snell's kind of levels above Flick, to be honest with you. So yeah, I think Flick's gonna fall off a cliff as the fight goes on, and Schnell gets a TKO off of it. Ikram Aliskerov, Andre Manu. Speaking of a fight that I've broken down before multiple times with the Gutierrez Casaneda, Aliskerov round 1 KO. Sadly, they're on to us this time. They know Aliskerov's going to win this fight. Yeah, I mean, Aliskerov should make easy work of Muniz. Muniz not presenting anything of danger, I think, to Ikram, besides maybe jiu-jitsu, but I don't think that's going to be any worry. I like the experience of fighting Robert Whitaker in a high-key spot. A marquee spot. What am I saying? High-key. A marquee spot in Saudi Arabia. I think he's going to be better from it. I like him at ATT. I think he's going to be better, and he's going to put on a show. Randy Brown, Nicholas Dalby. I like Randy Brown here. I want to go decision, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a finish here early on. I kind of think that this is going to be a similar fight to how his Brian Battle fight just went, which was really close, and you can arguably give it to Randy Brown. And now it's against a guy who's I don't think is as physical. Does have a good gas tank. You can't take that away from Dalby. But just doesn't have the physical tools that like a guy like Brian Battle has. I think, and especially at the age of Dalby, I kind of don't see a crazy amount of like paths for him, to be honest with you. I know like Randy Brown's had like trouble with guys like Trinaldo, forgetting some guys. Turman fought him in a sort of similar way, which was kind of scary, to be honest. I mean, Salikov, I guess. Dos Santos, but I think they present other challenges to Randy Brown that Dalby doesn't really present. I don't think he's going to be able to beat Brown. I like Brown here a good amount. Michel Pereira versus Abus Magomedov. I'm going Michel. I think I'm going to go KO round 2 because Abus is a little bit of a gasser. Both of them are, to be fair. I just think Pereira is going to put it on Abus. I think Michel's biggest problem is getting pressure and stuff like that. I don't think Abus is necessarily the guy to necessarily do that so much. I do worry about Abus being an America top team, getting that ATT water. It's a good team. It scares me. Training with Ikram Aliskerov as well, so also something to mention. But like on the feet, I think it's gonna be the Michel Pereira show, and he's so big for this weight class. He's like, no. I'm thinking like welterweight. I mean, even at middleweight, he's pretty big. But like, I like the competition. He's fought a lot more than Abus has, and I think he's gonna find Abus as the fight goes on, and maybe Abus doesn't have the same fortitude and gas tank as he did early on. So yeah, give me Michel Pereira. Next, I have the card: Giga Chikadze versus David Onama. David Onama. This is so hard for me to pick, man. I don't. At David Onama's former hometown in Kansas City, where you used to be with James Krause, I'm gonna go Giga, but honestly, I might make a comment like in the comment section or something like that, saying I flip. I'm fully willing to like flip on this fight, and I need to think on this more. I do think this is a big step up for Onama. I mean, this is a big step down for Giga against Arnold Allen. Had a pretty good showing. It was a close fight, and I think Allen had to push a crazy pace. Onama doesn't push a pace at that caliber. Onama really should wrestle here. I don't know if he does, but I mean, physicality-wise, Onama can win off hardware. But, I mean, I don't know. It's so tough. I'm going to go Giga. I think on the feet, he's going to be able to keep distance and do what he does on the feet. A Giga Chikadze type of fight on the feet. Keep distance, not get taken down to the ground. Hold position on the feet. Do well. I think that's possible. I worry about his cardio though, and it's hard to know. Like there's very good arguments for both sides. But I'll go Giga, I guess. But I have very little confidence in that. Ming Yang Zhang versus Anthony Smith. I have a hot take for this fight. Give me Ming Yang Zhang, but I'm gonna go round 2 KO. I think round 2-3 KO Ming Yang Zhang is a good look. I think round 2-3 sub Anthony Smith is a good look. I think maybe decision either way is a both. It's not a bad look either. The reason why I say that, Anthony Smith, yes, I do think he's done. But I'll tell you what, he's a tough son of a gun. And I think on his last fight, he's going to live by that Lionheart name and try to at least make it out of round 1. I just think it's going to be too much at a certain point, and Ming Yang Zhang will be able to get a finish as the fight goes on. But I will say I don't really know if I trust his cardio. Do I trust his ground game either? I really don't know. It's scary. But I if I'm gonna play this fight in any sort of way, it's got to be like round 2-3 finish. It has to be. That's the only way I could even consider looking at this fight. So yeah, that's why I would go with I would go Ming Yang Zhang, but Anthony Smith by finish rounds 2-3. I get it. Machado Garry versus Carlos Prates. Some of the takes I've heard in this fight have been crazy this week. I will say that. For both ways, like people picking both sides. People thinking Ian Garry, oh, he's gonna easily probably wrestle Prates like he did MVP. No, I don't. I don't think you have any evidence to tell you like that. Like, come on. And anyone who just thinks, oh, Carlos Prates completely outmatched Ian Garry on the feet. What are we talking about? What are we doing here? I think you got to put some respect on MVP's name. Like, MVP is a great striker, and not to have success against him on the feet, understandable. Prates is a lot more hittable. It's a lot more hittable, and Ian Garry can do some work on the feet. And you know what? I like Ian Garry to win this fight. I think Ian Machado Garry is going to win this fight. I'll go decision. I think I'll go long. I think betting this fight to go long is not a bad look either. I think that's a way to play it, especially if you like the fight to go long. But I just think Ian Garry's so good, and he's so good at making people fight his fights. He's so good at making fights slow down and like, okay, you're fighting my speed. I like that about Ian Garry. Shavkat, he didn't go that crazy in their fight against Ian Garry. No, he didn't. Against Jeff Neal, turned him into a clinch merchant. I know people say that fight was close. I completely disagree. I thought Ian Garry won that fight clear as day, easy. Legitimately. I was so confident he won that fight. And not Ian Garry. Jeff Neal didn't do a single thing besides clinch and do nothing with the clinch. That's not how fights are scored. I mean, against MVP, I like that he's improving his game, getting more well-rounded. I love that about Ian Garry. I love that he's a student in the game. I love the confidence about Ian Garry. He's a fighter. He's one to take short notice opportunities. I mean, the Neil Magny fight, impressive as hell from Ian Garry, completely shut him down. I love that. Prates, I know he can catch Garry. I get it. It's very, very possible. But I don't know. This is a pretty big jump in competition, in my opinion. This is by far the best guy any of the fighting nerds has faced, in my opinion. And like comparing the guys that Prates has fought, it's nowhere near the level of a guy like Ian Garry. Yeah, I like Ian Garry. I think he can mix in takedowns. I think he can do great work on the feet. I think he can have some clinch work opportunities to mix up that is given to him. Yeah, I like Ian Garry. I'm probably going to be looking at betting him, but I'm looking at this line. If he becomes an underdog, I am in. I'm in on Ian Garry. But if not, we'll see. But I'm probably going to end up having some sort of bet on Ian Machado Garry on this fight. So now let's go through the more takedowns and more significant strike bets I'm looking at. Chelsea Chandler, I'd say more takedowns Chandler, but I get it. Like, Edwards can do some of her own. But I would lean more takedowns Chandler, but I wouldn't even go crazy on that. More 6 strikes, probably Edwards. I totally get that angle. I don't want to have anything. I guess more takedowns. Kawamba is probably pretty live. More 6 strikes. I don't want anything to do with that. More takedowns, more 6 strikes. Amareem, I think she's gonna have ground and pound success, and I think takedowns. That's pretty obvious. Simon Wallmaker, I'll go 6 strikes. Simon takedowns, maybe Simon, but I'm not so crazy about that. I like the 6 strikes of Simon. I love his volume, and I think it's gonna be enough to get the 6 strike bet. Nothing I'm crazy about here. I'm going to be honest. Probably 6 strikes, Black Shear, but I'm not crazy about that one. Gutierrez, more 6 strikes. I think you can pretty reasonably rely on him, especially with his defensive capabilities. Yeah, more takedowns, probably Castaneda. He's going to be the only one really going for any takedowns. I don't think I know enough about Gage Young to really know about 6 strikes, more takedowns bets on that. Schnell, Flick, probably Schnell more takedowns, but I mean Flick's probably more likely to go for them, right? So I don't know. More 6 strikes though. Matt Schnell, I like that a lot actually. You probably should pretty consistently outstrike Jimmy Flick. Ikram Aliskarov, not Abus. Oh my God, Andre Muniz. Yeah, more takedowns, more 6 strikes. Ikram, not much to say there. I think he's got Muniz covered. Randy Brown. I think Rainy Brown, Nicholas Dalby. I think more significant strikes, Rainy Brown. More takedowns, probably Dalby. I don't think Rainy Brown's going to be going for no takedowns. Michel Pereira, Abus Magomedov. More significant strikes with how Dinkin goes. Michel. More takedowns, probably Abus. I think Abus has a chance to implement a wrestling game plan, which would be smart for him. But I'm not sure. Giga Chikadze, David Onama. I guess more takedowns, Onama. He's going to be the only one going for any, I think. And then more significant strikes, probably Giga. Just his style. Very good point fighter. Anthony Smith, Ming Yang Zhang. Ming Yang Zhang, more significant strikes. I think he's going to land a bunch. More takedowns, probably Anthony Smith. He's going to be the only one going for a takedown and getting ground and pound in the fight. And then main event, I like Gary more significant strikes. I think that's a pretty good bet. And I think Gary more takedowns, probably good looking too. So, yeah. Thanks so much for watching. You can check me out at betmma.tips champ bets. And yeah. Thanks so much for watching. Very excited for next week's card. Sanhagen versus Figueiredo. That's a good one. I have a bet I'm willing to go die on a hill on. And I'm going to be talking about that next week. And honestly, I might even record it not that long from now because I'm going to be going on vacation not that long from now as well. So be on the watch out for that. If not, I'm going to be wearing that weird headset that I have and talking on that. But preferably, I'd probably want to do it early. So we shall see. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great one. And again, if I have any changes or anything like that in terms of bets and picks and stuff like that, it's going to be in the comment section. So yeah. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great one.